What if I told you that the seafood you've been eating for years, the one you thought was heart healthy and brain boosting, might actually be doing the opposite? For millions of Americans over 60, that quiet seafood dinner could be silently harming your joints, your memory, even your cardiovascular system. The truth is, not all seafood is created equal. Some options are loaded with toxins, heavy metals, or inflammatory fats that quietly wear down your health over time. Others, often overlooked or dismissed as too strange or old-fashioned, can actually help reverse some of the damage, reduce inflammation, and even support better aging from the inside out. In this video, you'll learn which 3 seafood seniors should avoid completely and why they're far more dangerous than you think. You'll also discover 3 marine foods that science shows can protect your heart, nourish your brain, and keep you mobile well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The problem? The worst ones are marketed as healthy. The best ones? They're hidden from you. If you've been feeling more tired, more achy, or just a little off lately, the answer might be sitting right on your plate. What you eat from the ocean matters, sand. It might be time to choose differently. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 3 worst seafoods for seniors backed by science. 1. Tilapia, the healthy fish that's slowly poisoning your joints and brain. For years, tilapia has been served up in American homes as the go-to healthy fish, light, inexpensive, and easy to prepare. But for older adults, especially those over 60, this fish might be doing far more harm than good. Behind its mild flavor and clean appearance is a dangerous truth most people don't know. Farm-raised tilapia is one of the most inflammatory foods a senior can eat. Here's why that matters. Tilapia is extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids, the same kind of fat that fuels chronic inflammation in the body. And once you're past 60, inflammation is no longer just a buzzword. It's the hidden trigger behind aching joints, stiff knees, heart disease, arthritis, flare-ups, and even cognitive decline. Your body simply becomes more reactive with age, and its ability to balance fats, especially between omega-6 and omega-3, drops. Unlike omega-3s that calm the fire, omega-6s feed it. And tilapia? It has more omega-6s than bacon. Yes, bacon. But there's more. Nearly 95% of the tilapia in American stores comes from overseas fish farms. Many of these are in regions where the water is unregulated, the ponds are overcrowded, and the fish are fed a mash of soy, corn, and even animal waste just to survive. Antibiotics, many of which are banned here in the US, are used to control disease, and those residues can end up in the final product. In your body, I think of someone I worked with not long ago, Nancy, a 72-year-old retired nurse from Wisconsin. She came in with persistent swelling in her wrists and knees, along with brain fog and constant fatigue. Her lab showed high levels of inflammation and a poor omega-3 to 6 ratio. But Nancy had been doing everything right, grilled tilapia for dinner 3 nights a week, thinking she was helping her heart. We removed the tilapia, added healthier seafood choices, and within a month her symptoms began to ease. She was stunned. Make no mistake, tilapia might seem like a smart, safe pick, but for seniors, it can quietly work against your health from the inside out. It doesn't nourish your joints. It doesn't support your brain. It slowly chips away at both. If tilapia has been on your plate, thinking it was your healthy go-to, it's time to pause and reconsider. Your body deserves better. And if you thought tilapia was bad, wait until you hear what's hiding in a common pantry fish that looks harmless but can be quietly toxic. Let's move on to point number 2. 2. Canned tuna, the trusted pantry staple that's slowly poisoning your mind. It's one of the most common staples in a senior's kitchen, a can of tuna. It's simple, affordable, and seems like the perfect protein when you're cooking for one or trying to eat light. But for older adults, especially those over 65, that innocent little can, particularly if it's albacore tuna can, quietly turn into a health risk that builds up over time. You can't see it or taste it, but what makes albacore tuna so dangerous is mercury, and not just a little. Albacore contains nearly 3 times the mercury of light or skipjack tuna. That's a big problem for seniors, because as we age, our kidneys slow down, detox systems get weaker, and our brains become more sensitive to heavy metals. Mercury isn't something the body clears. Easily it accumulates, and that accumulation can cause real harm. I remember one of my patients, Raymond, a 71-year-old retired architect from Colorado. He came in complaining about brain fog, shaky hands, and forgetfulness that didn't feel normal for him. His labs revealed elevated mercury levels far beyond what's considered safe. The culprit? He'd been eating canned albacore tuna almost daily for over a year. It felt like the healthiest thing I could do, he told me, shocked. Once we cut out the tuna and supported his detox with the right nutrients, he started feeling clearer. It wasn't instant, but it was real. Here's the part most people don't realize. Mercury crosses the blood-brain barrier. That means it doesn't just affect your energy or digestion, it can harm memory, speech, and coordination. For older adults already at higher risk of balance issues or cognitive decline, it's a threat that can quietly make things worse. And don't be fooled by labels that say wild caught or packed in water. Mercury doesn't care. What matters is the type of fish and how often you're eating it. Albacore is the biggest offender in canned tuna. Even the FDA warns that older adults should limit their intake, yet many are still eating it regularly. If you've been relying on canned tuna as your go-to protein, especially albacore, it's time to rethink that habit. Your brain and body will thank you. And if that surprises you, wait until you hear about the next fisha, popular comfort seafood often fried or blackened, that may be carrying hidden hormones and drugs banned in the US. Let's move to the next point. 3. Farm-raised catfish, the comfort food that's coated in hidden chemicals. It's a favorite at family reunions, southern potlucks, and Sunday dinners across the country. Crispy, golden, comforting catfish. For many older adults, it's not just food, it's a tradition. But here's what most seniors don't know. If that catfish is farm-raised, especially from overseas, it may be one of the most harmful choices you can put on your plate. Today, more than 80% of the catfish sold in the US is imported mainly from countries like Vietnam and China. These fish are raised in overcrowded, polluted ponds where disease spreads fast. To keep them alive, producers rely on a cocktail of antibiotics, synthetic hormones, and chemicals like malachite grenadine banned in the US because of its link to liver damage and cancer. And yet, testing continues to find traces of it in the imported catfish being sold right here at home. What's worse, your body over 60 doesn't process these toxins like it used to. Aging livers and kidneys can't filter contaminants as efficiently. That means the residues stay longer, settle deeper, and do more damage, fueling inflammation, straining your metabolism, and weakening your immune system. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Joseph, a 78-year-old retired electrician from Alabama. Every Saturday night, he'd fry up a few fillets of catfish. It was a tradition from his childhood. But over time, Joseph developed chronic heartburn, strange rashes, and constant fatigue. His doctors thought it might be stress or aging, but after some deeper testing, we found elevated liver enzymes and traces of nitrofuranza, sign of exposure to banned antibiotics. Once he cut out the imported catfish and replaced it with safer options, his symptoms began to fade. "It felt like waking up from a fog," he told me. That's the reality. Imported farm-raised catfish may look mild and clean, but it lacks the healthy fats your heart and brain need and delivers toxins your aging body simply can't afford. So the next time catfish is on the menu, whether it's grilled, blackened, or deep-fried, ask where it came from. If it's farm-raised and imported, it's time to say no. But it's not all bad news, because while some seafoods break you down, others build you back up. Let's look at 3 of the best ocean foods for seniors, the ones that can actually protect your memory, joints, and energy. Ready for that list? Let's keep going with 3 best seafoods for seniors. Eat these weekly. 1. Sardines, the tiny fish that makes you live longer. They're tiny, oily, and often tucked away on the bottom shelf of the grocery store, far from the spotlight. Not exactly the first thing you'd expect to see in a senior's kitchen. But what if I told you that this small, humble fish might just be one of the most powerful tools we have for aging well? Because it is. And the science is clear. Sardines are one of the best foods you can eat for your heart, your brain, your bones, and possibly even your lifespan. Unlike larger fish that live longer and accumulate mercury or environmental toxins over time, sardines are short-lived and small. That means they carry very little contamination, a huge advantage for older adults whose liver and kidneys are already working harder than they used to. But what makes sardines truly special isn't just what they don't have, it's what they do. They're packed with omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, vitamin D, vitamin B12, iron, and selenium. These are the very nutrients aging bodies often lack. And they come in a natural, highly absorbable form your body can actually use. As we age, chronic low-level inflammation becomes one of our greatest threats. It wears down our joints, clouds our thinking, weakens the heart, and zaps our energy. Sardines are rich in EPA and DHA2, of the most potent forms of omega-3s. These healthy fats are proven to reduce systemic inflammation, improve blood lipid levels, and protect the brain against cognitive decline. One long-term study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who ate oily fish like sardines twice a week had a 36% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease and better long-term memory performance. That's not a small benefit. That's the kind of change that adds years to life and life to years. But there's more. Sardines are also one of the rare foods that provide both calcium and vitamin D in the same bite. Why does that matter? Because your bones need both, not just one, to stay strong. And unlike many calcium supplements that can be hard to absorb or even harmful in excess, sardines deliver the real thing. Naturally balanced, easily absorbed, especially important for seniors facing bone thinning or balance issues. One of my patients, Barbara, a 70-year-old retired florist from Michigan, came to me after fracturing her ankle from a minor slip in her kitchen. Her DEXA scan showed early osteoporosis despite years of calcium pills. When I asked about her diet, there was little seafood and almost no dietary vitamin D. We swapped out her pills for a simple food-based approach: 2 servings of wild sardines per week, packed in olive oil, no added salt. 6 months later, Barbara's follow-up scan showed stabilization in bone loss. But even more importantly, she said, "I feel more steady, like my legs know what they're doing again." That wasn't just in her head, that was real, biological improvement. Sardines are one of the few proteins that give more than they take. They support the brain, the bones, the heart, and the aging metabolism without added sugars, preservatives, or synthetic ingredients. No gimmicks. No mystery, just real food doing what it was always meant to do: help your body thrive. So if you've been skipping sardines because of the size, the texture, or the smell, it's time to rethink that. These little fish may be small, but their impact is mighty. But sardines are just the start. There's another seafood rich, pink and wild from the cold waters of the Pacific Northwest that does something incredible for your memory, your mood, and your energy. Let's talk about that one next. 2. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon, the healing fish that rebuilds you from the inside out. If there's one food I believe every senior should keep stocked in their kitchen, it's wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Not just because it's delicious or trendy, but because it quietly supports nearly every system in your body that begins to struggle with age. Your brain, your heart, your joints, even your skin. This fish works behind the scenes to help you not just live longer, but live better. As we age, inflammation becomes a silent predator. You don't always feel it, but it builds slowly in your arteries, your memory, your knees. That morning stiffness, that afternoon brain fog, that creeping blood pressure, often inflammation is at the root. Wild-caught salmon is one of nature's richest sources of EPA and DHA2 omega-3 fatty acids, proven to reduce that inflammation naturally. A long-term study out of Harvard followed older adults for 5 years. The group that ate fatty fish like salmon 3 times a week had a 35% lower risk of cognitive decline. That's not a pill. That's not a prescription. That's real food making, a real difference. But wild salmon does more than protect, it helps repair. It's packed with astaxanthin, a powerful reddish pigment found in wild salmon, but missing in most farmed varieties. Astaxanthin has been shown to improve skin elasticity, support circulation, and protect your eyes from age-related decline. It's one of nature's most potent anti-aging compounds, and it's hiding in plain sight on your plate. Then there's your heart. For people over 65, the risk of heart attack or stroke rises sharply. Salmon works to bring that risk down. Its healthy fats help lower blood pressure, stabilize cholesterol, and even protect the walls of your arteries. Studies have shown that regular salmon intake can improve heart rate variability, a key measure of how adaptable and resilient your heart is. The more resilient, the safer you are during stress or illness. Let me tell you about someone who proves this firsthand. Her name was June, a 75-year-old retired nurse from Minnesota. She had lived through a lot, raised 4 kids, worked night shifts for decades, and recently gone through 2 small heart scares. When I first saw her, she felt worn out, mentally foggy, always tired, and unsure how to fix it. Her diet was low on seafood, high in processed meats, and full of quick meals. We made one simple change: wild-caught Alaskan salmon twice a week, grilled, oven-baked, however she liked. Within 3 months, June said she could feel the difference. Her numbers were better, lower blood pressure, improved cholesterol, but more than that, she felt sharper, lighter on her feet, more like herself again. She told me, "It's like my engine finally started running clean." That's the power of wild salmon. It's not flashy. It's not expensive medications or complicated regimens. It's just the right food, consistently nourishing the systems that matter most. But here's the key: it has to be wild caught. Farmed salmon is a different story entirely. Often raised in cramped pens, fed artificial dyes, and treated with antibiotics, farmed fish don't offer the same health benefits and may even carry risks. Look for wild Alaskan varieties like sockeye or coho. They're clean, dense in nutrients, and free from the additives that older bodies struggle to process. If sardines are the unsung hero of senior health, wild salmon is the cornerstone. It gives you the foundation to stay independent, sharp, and mobile without a cabinet full of supplements. And believe it or not, the best may still be ahead. Because there's one more seafood that's not a fish at all. Yet it holds surprising power, helping with energy, bone health, and hormone balance in ways few people talk about. Let's take a look at that next. 3. Atlantic mackerel, the overlooked superfish that recharges your body and sharpens your mind. It's not flashy, it's not expensive, and it rarely makes the front page of a health magazine. But for older adults looking to boost energy, protect their heart, and stay sharp, Atlantic mackerel might be one of the most powerful foods you're not eating. This small oily fish is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B12, selenium, and CoQ10, all crucial nutrients that support an aging body. While wild salmon is known for fighting inflammation, Atlantic mackerel works at the cellular level. It feeds your mitochondria, tiny power plants in your cells that generate energy. And after 60, when fatigue sets in, muscles feel weaker, and your brain doesn't fire quite like it used to, supporting those mitochondria is everything. What makes mackerel truly special for seniors is its safety. Unlike bigger fish like king mackerel or tuna, Atlantic mackerel is very low in mercury. It's so clean, in fact, that the FDA lists it as one of the best seafood options for older adults. You get all the brain-boosting, heart-protecting omega-3s without the toxic burden. Let me tell you about someone who discovered this the hard way. Joanne, a 75-year-old retired librarian from Wisconsin, came to me complaining of brain fog, lack of energy, and occasional dizzy spells. Her blood work showed low B12, early signs of anemia, and sluggish mitochondrial function. She was frustrated, afraid she was beginning to fade. Instead of adding more pills, I suggested something simple. Eat Atlantic mackerel twice a week grilled or lightly cooked with olive oil. That was it. 6 weeks later, she returned glowing. Her energy had lifted. She was driving again without confusion, remembering names, and even started volunteering at her local library. I feel like I came back to life, she told me, holding my hand. Her story isn't rare. A 2020 study in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging found that older adults who regularly ate oily fish like Atlantic mackerel had significantly better memory, stronger muscles, and were more resistant to depression and fatigue. It's not just good for your body, it helps restore your confidence and independence. Atlantic mackerel is affordable, easy to prepare, and surprisingly delicious. No need for complicated recipes, just a few servings a week can feed your cells, sharpen your focus, and bring vitality back into your day. It doesn't just help you live longer, it helps you live better. Now that you've learned about the 3 seafoods that can help you stay sharp, steady, and energized, you might be asking yourself, what if I made these a regular part of my week? Coming up, I'll walk you through how to build the ideal seafood plate for seniors. No powders, no guesswork, just real food that helps your body heal and thrive. Because when it comes to aging well, your food choices matter more than ever. The truth is, every meal we sit down to after 60 carries more weight than it did in our younger years. Foods that once seemed harmless or even healthy can slowly wear down our systems if we're not careful. And the line between healing and harm often starts right on your plate. Let's be honest, certain seafoods aren't just less healthy, they're actually dangerous for seniors. Tilapia, canned albacore tuna, and farm-raised catfish don't just offer poor nutrition. They introduce inflammation, overload your organs, and expose your body to toxins. Your liver and kidneys can no longer clear out like they used to. These aren't minor issues, they're warning signs. And ignoring them could mean trading short-term comfort for long-term damage. But here's the good news, and it's powerful. Because the right seafoods don't just help you survive, they help you live better. Sardines? They're packed with the nutrients your bones and brain crave. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon? It helps soothe inflammation and protect your heart. Atlantic mackerel? It refuels your cells, restores energy, and supports clearer thinking. These aren't luxury items. They're simple, affordable, and scientifically backed foods that can help you stay independent, mobile, and mentally sharp. I've seen this firsthand. One patient of mine, a 70-year-old retired school bus driver named Lorraine, was feeling foggy and stiff despite doing everything right. We adjusted one thing, her seafood. She swapped out the fried catfish and canned tuna for grilled salmon and sardines twice a week. Within a month, she had more energy, less joint pain, and said she felt like she got her spark back. It doesn't take a miracle, just the right choices, made consistently. So if you're over 60, it's time to rethink your plate. Don't just eat out of habit, with purpose. Read the labels. Know where your seafood comes from. The heart, the brain, the joints, they're depending on you now more than ever. This isn't about fear, it's about freedom. Freedom to move with ease, to remember with clarity, to enjoy your days with energy. And that kind of freedom starts with a fork. Now I'd love to hear from you. What stood out to you today? What's one change you plan to make? If this video helped, please drop a 1 in the comments. If not, feel free to write 0. Your feedback means a lot. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. Thank you for being here, and here's to living life fully, with strength, purpose, and joy every step of the way.